Good evening, students. So today we are going to discuss about the calculation of radius of the Bohr's orbit. So we have discussed in yesterday class about the radius calculation, but so many of you are not understanded. So because of the disturbance in that Zoom class, so now I will explain this calculation part of radius of Bohr's orbit. So according to Bohr's, here the nucleus is there and electron is there, right? So the nucleus contain positive charge and electron contain negative charge. So there should be attraction forces exist between the positive nucleus and negative electron. So that attraction force is equal to k into q1 q2 by r square. So this is the equation for attraction force. So the electrostatic attraction force is equal to K into Q1 Q2 by R square. Here Q1 Q2 are charges of positive nucleus and negative electron. So we can replace this Q1 Q2 with the ZE square, because so how much positive charge is there, it will be equal to atomic number, because atomic number is equal to, so each proton charge is, for example, each proton charge is E. And what is the atomic number? So z is the atomic number. So z into E, so total positive charge will be atomic number into charge. In the same way electrons also, so total charge of electron also atomic number into one electron charge. So means it will become Z E square. So this Q1 Q2 values will become Z E square. So E means charge of electron and also charge of proton. So we can substitute this in place of Q1 Q2 Z E square. Okay, and also we know that from Bohr's theory, mv are equal to nh by 2 pi. This is called quantization condition of angular momentum of electron. So angular momentum means mass into velocity. If you multiply mass into velocity with radius, it will become angular momentum. Angular momentum of electron is integral multiple of h by 2 pi. So from this equation we can derive one equation for velocity v equal to nh by 2 pi mr. So just m ni r ni పంపిస్తే ఏమవుతుంది, nh by 2 pi mr, and we can substitute this equation in this equation, this one, second and third. By substituting second and third equations in first equation, we will get kZe square. Here in place of q1 q2 we can write Ze square by r square equal to mv square. So in place of velocity we can write this one. So it will become square means n square h square, and this 2 will become 4 pi square m square r square. Here mv square by r. So on solving this equation, so m will be cancelled out, and here r square and here r square will be cancelled out. So by solving this equation we can get equation for radius. So r will go this side, it will become r equal to n square h square, okay, by 4 pi square m and kZe square. So this is the equation for radius of orbit, Bohr's orbit. So this is radius equation, and by from this equation, so here n is the number of orbit and h is the Planck's constant, and here mass is the electron mass, and k is the constant, and z is the constant, z is atomic number, E is means charge of electron and proton. So here these all values are constants. So by substituting all these values we will get the final equation. And we know that from this equation, so these are all constants, means they are not changes with the changing radius. So what will be changes with the radius? So by substituting all these constant, means Planck's constant, mass of electron, this K electrostatic constant and E charge of so all these constants, we will get simplified equation. This is called simplified equation. So by substituting all these values, only here n means orbit will be changes, and also atomic number means if you take hydrogen, atomic number will be 1. If you take helium, atomic number will be 2, like that. These are called variables. Only n and z are variables, remaining all are constants. So we can write so what is the relation between this radius and this n value and z value? So we can derive one relationship. R is directly proportional to square of n, and R is inversely proportional to atomic number. So from this equation we can derive one relation, that is R is directly proportional to n square and inversely proportional to atomic number z. And by substituting all the values, we can get the simplified equation. This is simplified equation. Radius R equal to 0.529 into n square by z angstrom. So this is in angstrom, radius of orbit. This is called Bohr's radius equation. So if you substitute here z equal to 1 and n equal to 1, we will get the radius of the hydrogen atom, first orbit radius. So for hydrogen atom, if you substitute, if you calculate first orbit radius, it will become 0.529 angstrom, and this is called Bohr's radius. It is shown by A naught, or in some books it will be given as R naught, or it will be A naught. So A naught is called Bohr's radius. A naught value in the 0.529 angstrom. So this is called Bohr's radius. And here, what is the, if you want a second orbit radius of hydrogen atom, so you can substitute in place of n value, in place of 1, if you substitute 2, you will get second orbit radius. So means it will become, so this is assumed as A naught, means here the first orbit radius will be A naught. A naught means this value 0.529 angstrom, and the second orbit radius R2 will become here n square, means what we have to write, z is 1 only for hydrogen. So if you derive the relationship of second orbit radius, you will get just n square means 2 square, means 4 into A naught. Okay, if you substitute n equal to 2 and z equal to 1, you will get 4 A naught. So A naught is this value. Okay, if you calculate third orbit radius, it will become 9 A naught. So means here 2 times, so radius is, so it will become n square. So means 2 times, so this n will be increased. So means R4 will become 16 A naught. So like that. So these are the radius of hydrogen atom. First orbit radius, second orbit radius, third orbit and fourth orbit radius in case of hydrogen. So that by substituting these values, we can calculate. Okay, this is the equation for radius, and we can calculate the radius of any orbit of single electron species. And next, velocity calculation. So velocity of electron is derived from this equation. We can derive from this equation, mvr equal to nh by 2 pi. So from this equation, we can derive the v equal to velocity equal to nh by 2 pi mr, and we know the radius, right? Radius equation now only we have derived, that is n square h square by 4 pi square mk ze square. So by substituting this radius value in this velocity equation, so we will get the final equation of velocity. So v equal to nh by 2 pi mr. So m, in place of r we can substitute this equation. So means this will go upside and this will become downside. 4 pi square mkze square n square h square. So by calculating velocity value. So this here NH and NH will be cancelled out, and mass of electron and M cancelled out, and pi, and here. So all by solving this equation, so we will get velocity v equal to 2 pi. So here 2 will be remain 2 pi kZe square by nh. So this is the equation for velocity. So here what are the constants? Pi, k, e and h are constants, and only what are changing values? Variables z and n. So what is the relation between velocity and z and n? We can derive the relationship as velocity is inversely proportional to n value, number of orbit value, and directly proportional to atomic number. So means number of orbits increasing, the electron will revolve with less velocity, because they are both are inversely related. And by solving this equation, by substituting the constants in this equation, we will get the simplified equation Vn. So n means here number of orbit, nth, so here Vn is equal to 2.18 into 10 power 6 z by n. So by substituting z value and n value, we will get the velocity of electron in a particular orbit. Meter per second is the unit for velocity. So this is the final equation for velocity. You have to remember this equation, important equation. So in case of velocity. Next, calculation of energy. So energy of electron is total energy is equal to kinetic energy and potential energy. So means when electron is revolving, it will have both potential energy and kinetic energy. So that kinetic energy is equal to half mv square. This you know. And what is about potential energy? So if it is electron is at infinity distance, means for example it is not under the nuclear force, so this potential energy, so it will be 0, because it is at rest. It is at rest, means it is not under the influence of nucleus, it is not revolving around the nucleus. So its potential energy at infinity distance, so this is at infinity, will be 0. And if it is under electrostatic force of attraction with nucleus, so it will revolve around the nucleus. So it, due to motion, it will have kinetic energy, and also it will have potential energy. So due to electrostatic force of attraction, so it will have both potential energy and kinetic energy. So kinetic energy is half mv square, and potential energy is minus kZe square by r. So just remember this equation. So there is no need to derive this equation. So just remember minus kZe square by r. So this will comes by integrating the electrostatic force of attraction equation. So electrostatic force of attraction is equal to kZe square by r square. So this one. Okay. ఈ ఈక్వేషన్ని ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ చేసినప్పుడు మనకి పొటెన్షియల్ ఎనర్జీకి ఈక్వేషన్ వస్తుంది, దట్ ఈస్ మైనస్ kZe స్క్వేర్ బై r. సో why potential energy is negative? So the energy of electron, so it is under electrostatic force of attraction, means it is revolving. When it is under electrostatic force of attraction, it is revolving, means it's doing some work. So if any system, if it is doing work, it will lose energy. So becomes that means energy becomes negative. So that's why energy, potential energy of electron is negative. So due to work done. And here, so by substituting potential energy and kinetic energy in this total energy equation, kinetic energy is half mv square and potential energy minus kZe square by r. So we will get the total energy equation by solving this equation. So in this equation we can substitute mv square equal to kze square by r. So how this is coming? So this came from Rutherford. So Rutherford assumed that electrostatic force of attraction is equal to centripetal force of attraction, right? So force of attraction is kze square by r square, and here centripetal force is mv square by r. So by solving this equation we will get the mv square equal to kze square by r. So by substituting this mv square value in this total energy equation, we will get total energy equal to half into kze square by r. So and minus kze square by r. So this is the total energy equation. So it will become minus half into kze square by r. So by subtracting this value by this value, we will get minus half kze square by r. So this is the total energy equation. Here it is kinetic energy, it is the part of potential energy. So here we got the total energy equation. This is the kinetic energy part and it is the potential energy part. So on solving this equation, we will get my total energy as minus half into kze square by r. So see these three equations. This is Ke equation and this is potential energy equation, P equal to minus kze square r, and total energy will be minus half kze square by r. So what is the relationship between these three energies? So here total energy equal to minus half kze square by r. So if you see this value and this kinetic energy value, so it is exactly equal in magnitude but opposite in sign. So we can write what is the relationship between total energy and kinetic energy. Total energy equal to exactly equal to kinetic energy but it is negative. So we can derive this relationship, total energy equal to minus kinetic energy. And what is the relationship potential energy and total energy? So this is the total energy and this is the potential energy. When they become equal, when we do 2 into total energy, right? 2, if you multiply this equation with 2, we will get the potential energy equation. Means 2 into total energy equal to potential energy. Okay, means potential energy by half equal to total energy. So we can derive this relationship. So means total energy is exactly half to the potential energy. Means potential energy 2 times higher than total energy. So it is exactly equal to kinetic energy and it is 2 times higher than the potential energy. Okay, so means, so these are the two relationships, total energy and potential energy by 2, and total energy equal to minus kinetic energy. And what is the relationship with potential energy and kinetic energy? So we can equate this both. Pe by 2 equal to minus Ke. Okay, what we will get? So if you do, here total energy will become equal to Pe by 2, okay, and equal to minus Ke. So hence LHS is equal. We can equate RHS. Pe by 2 equal to minus Ke. So from this equation, we can get the relation between potential energy and kinetic energy. So if 2 goes this side, and here this is the relation. Okay. So 2 into kinetic energy equal to minus potential energy. So potential energy is always in negative in sign. Okay. So these three are important equations. This one and this one. Next, okay, total energy from this above equation, what is the total energy? Minus half into kze square by r. Okay, So this is the final equation for total energy, and if we substitute all the values, you will get the simplified equation for energy of electron. So energy of electron will become minus 13.6 z square by n square electron volt per atom. So if we substitute radius equation and E value and constant value, all values, we can simplify the energy of electron as minus 13.6 z square by n square electron volt per atom. And if you convert these units into joules, you will get En equal to minus 2.18 into 10 power minus 18 z square by n square joules per atom. So these two equations are very, very important. So just to know about the derivation, I am explaining this all these calculations, but you have to remember these final equations.